Hello guys, so now we are working on our final project and we're gonna rig the skeleton. I hope you have a good break. Alright, we're gonna start it now. Okay guys, before we started to rig, I like to show you the finish. So this is the finish and this is what we are expected to have for our final. So we have eye control and I limit some information. So here we go. These are a aim constraint. So constraint these locator to locator and the eyeball just parented to the locator. The reason that I use locator because so that is a little cleaner than the aim constraint directly to the eyeball itself. So and also a eyeball also has parent constraint. And now the head, this is the major rotate of our head. And on the neck, if you try to turn your head, you will feel it that the major rotation is right on the head itself, not on the neck. The neck is just a secondary. If you force not to turn the neck, you're gonna be able to turn right around there. You can try it. And then now the secondary and tertiary motion will happen with the necks and the middle of it. And so it will look like that. Here we go. I'm gonna put it back to 0. And we have clavicle. In clavicle, some rig it has translate, but in this case we're gonna use only rotation, so it will be only rotation z-axis. So I'm gonna lock and hide everything else. So and same here, lock and hide on the controller so that we have limited. And also these controller is also control the shoulder blade also. And here we go, look like that. Now the ulna and radius. Now when you twist your arm, you turn on x direction, is actually this is the motion that happened. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to mimic the realistic mechanical movement of the human. And the reason that we do this so that you understand the basics movement, and then when you rig on a stylistic character you can exaggerate them. So now these hand wave and flap controllers allow us to control the hand flap and wave, and I limit a little information. Okay, so now I separate the arm control itself. So this is the arm movement. I somehow type it hand, so it's allow you to move the hand. When we rig it, we're gonna use a different controller. Okay, so here we go, and then I have elbow twist. So elbow twist is basically I just, instead of using a pull vector, I just twist the IK handle instead. So okay, so just limit some information on the too many icon on the screen. Now the neck and the spine control, basically this technique is similar to a curiosity when we rigging the flexible camera. We're using FK control the IK. So basically these box are controlling the rotation of the forward kinematic or FK joints. So an FK joint just driving a spine IK basically. Now a little things on this, when you look at on the geometry, basically I just parenting it. See, if I select this a spine joint 10, you will see this is a shell. If I select the next one 11, this is the shell. Now there's only one thing, that one surface that I did not parent it is this. This surface I use skinning, and we're gonna learn how to skin it. So basically, because it will create a skinning that can deform based on the transformation or rotation of the spine joints. So now when I move this, rotate, not move, can you see it's follow? It's actually a little it deform it, the whole rig, but each joint are deformed some section of the surface. We will talk about that later on when we get to that part. Okay, so you have middle ab and lower body. Lower ab is actually controlled like almost if you try to bend your own back, and the major bending or major rotation will be on the bottom right there, and this will be a secondary, and this will be a tertiary. So actually when you crunch your rib cage, you can't do it that much at all. It's actually just only a little. You can try to crunch your rib cage on your torso. You will feel it. It's just only a little bit motion, not much at all, because otherwise you will crush your organ. And actually on this rig, it's not precise as the actual movement of human joint at all, because this has more motion actually. So but you can't rotate much, because if you can't, because see right here, it will have a contact to this spine, and that will, you cannot go past that. So and now on the main body control is right here. This is the box. You can rotate the whole body like this, and you use this for movement, animate, move forward, up and down, or rotation. And then we have a hip control, so allow us to do a little subtle motion like this. Can you see? Here we go. Now on the knee joint though, knee joints, I have two. The reason that I have two, because when it's bent, if you do a skinning on a surface of the collector, if you have only one joint, will create a really high pinch on the middle. So this will prevent that. Okay, so now if I move the leg up, can you see it look like this? And this is try to mimic the realistic motion of the joint. And now on the foot control, you have a ball bend, toe bend, and you have knee bend. I should call this twist, not the bend. Basically you can create a pull vector here to control the knee twist, and now we can do this instead. So, and we will work, I will show you how to do it. And now on the foot control, you also have ball bend. Here we go. And then you have toe bend. Toe bend you can do up and down. And here we go. And I'm gonna put it back to 0. So basically we use set driven key. Now you might notice that there are two controllers on the foot. Now this is heel control. It's allow us to do this. Here we go, like tap, tap. and you can twist this way. Here we go. And also the foot itself you can rotate, but with the main foot control, the rotation will happen at the angle. So that's why we need two. Okay. Okay, let's come back to our skeleton mesh file, and I'm gonna template my layers. Template it. Okay. And we're gonna start it on side view. We're gonna create a joint. So joint. So I'm gonna switch my menu module to rigging, and under skeleton, create joints. Open up option. We need to do a little things. Orient join to world. Here we go. And I'm gonna turn off variable bone radius setting, and I'm gonna click close. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start it from the upper on the thigh. Started with the hip right there, one, and create a little angle, two. Here we go. Now on this section we need a little trick here. I'm gonna hold shift and click so that it go a little straight line there, and then shift again and click right around there. Here we go. So this time we're gonna rotate this like this. So here we go. The reason is because I want that to be straight line perpendicular like this. And now our joint has rotation, so we can freeze them if we want to, but we don't have to because we are not do a forward kinematic here. So now I'm gonna move this to right here. Okay, and I'm gonna rotate it and rotate this direction because I want to create a little angle there. There we go. So now we're gonna have to rename this, but before we rename it, let's create a foot. So now let's connect that, turn on a join tool again, and activate the end of last joint so that we can connect them. And now this will be an angle. And I go to the ball joint. Now it might be a good idea to just put it right on the floor. So I'm gonna just click right around there, and then shift click so that it's straight line. So, and actually it doesn't matter. I'm gonna press enter to finish. You could just, if you like to, you can move up a little. That's fine too. Okay, let's check on the font. Now the font view, well, you don't have to change the orientation to match, but you can if you like to. In this case, let's do it. The only thing is because the rotation will happen right there, so you might need to scale a little bit. There we go. Okay, and now it has a scale. I scale on this. Can you see right there? Scale it. Okay, you can freeze them if you like to, but we don't have to because we are not going to animate stretch. if you have to animate it, yes, you have to freeze them, but in this case we do not. Okay, so now we're gonna rename this and then we're gonna mirror to the other side. So let's rename this. So I'm gonna rename it, so that will be a hip bone. So we should give a name of this skeleton too, because when you rig later on you will import this into a different scene that might have more than one collector. So let's give a name. I'm gonna just put SK skeleton basically and I'm gonna call a hip JNT. Here we go. And let's copy that name. This will be a knee 1 and knee 2. Joy 1, I'm gonna call knee joy 1. Okay. And this will be a join 2. Here we go. And then this will be an angle angle joint, and this will be a ball joint. I just call ball JNT. Okay, and this will be toe joint. Just call toe JNT. So now we're gonna add a prefix on this because this is gonna be a left side. So I'm gonna select the root. And oh, by the way, if you're seeing the joints are so big, you can change the size. It's under scale, under display, animation display, and joint size. Okay, but I put it inside my shelf. So right now I'm setting to a 0.2. So in yours probably gonna be 1. So let's see if it 1, how big is it? So that will be that big. So I'm gonna change to 0.2. Okay, maybe 0.2 is too small. Let's do 0.3. There we go. Close. It's just a display. You can also change the actual radius right there. So now I select the root, and if let me turn on that. Let me show object filter out only joins. So or shift click gets all of those. So now under modifying prefix hierarchy name, and I'm gonna just add L underscore. Here we go. So it look like that. So now we're gonna mirror this. I'm gonna turn on move tool a little bit so that we can see the global tripod. We can look at on the global axis there too. So now under skeleton mirror joints, open up option. So now when we look at this, if we call XY plane, so is it XY? XY plane is this blue color, but we want on this direction is X direction, so will be Y and Z right there. Wait, it has to be right here, workspace, so Y and Z. So that's the one. And I will put search for L underscore, replace it with R underscore, apply, and you will get that. Close. So now we got these two, and then we're gonna have to work on the rig. So right now what we want to do is let me create a one single joint as a pivot. So I'm gonna go to side view and turn on join tool again. If you don't see it under skeleton, join tool, and just one click right there. So now this will be a pivot join. So I'm gonna call skeleton pivots. I think pelvis. Here we go. Okay. And if you like the radius to be a little bigger, it's up to you. You can use that. I can do a let's call 1.5, a little bigger. There we go. So pivot. We are not going to parent them there. Okay, we will later. So that will be a pivot, because pivot will control this join. Okay, so we'll come back on that. Actually, I don't know why I create that right now, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to use IK. Now, we absolutely need a rotation plane on this because we want to be able to twist the knee. And at some point when we lift the leg, it will flip. So we have to be able to twist it to fix that flipping happen. So go to a skeleton, IK handle, open up option. We're going to use rotation plane solver, turn on sticky, everything else leave as is. And then I'm going to close that. We're going to put one on the hip, started from the hip, sorry, and in at angle. Now you get to name this. So IK handle, we're going to call a L SK, the name, underscore, we're going to call a let's call angle IK. Angle IK. Oop. Angle IK. Here we go. And let me remove that angle IK. So the angle IK, what it does is will help us to pin this. It will look like this, right? Here we go. So now when we move the hip down, can you see these two joints are dipped to the ground plane? We want that to pin it. Now to pin it, we're going to have to use IK handle again. So IK, double click on IK tool. And this time though, we're going to change the rotation plane to a single chain solver. There's a reason. Because if I select, let me select this IK, can you see you have a rotation plane? You could use rotation plane there, but it's really, for me, I prefer not to use it because it's really annoying looking with that twisting node and so on. So we're gonna use a IK single chain solver instead. And because there's no need, it's only two joined. So we're gonna start it from the angle joint in at the ball joint. So now we're gonna name this. This is gonna call a, let me turn this filter IK handle also. Here we go, so that we can see it. So this one we're gonna call a LSK ball IK. L underscore SK ball IK. So the ball IK will allow us to pin the ball joint, basically. Can you see it's like that? So now we still need a toe joint to be pinned also. Otherwise, at some point, it will dip to the ground. Can you see like that when we move forward the hip? So we're gonna have to pin it. So IK again, double click on it, make sure you use single chain solver, and we'll start it from a ball joint to the toe joint. Rename it. I'm gonna call L underscore SK underscore and toe IK. Okay. So now we're done with this. The next thing though, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a ball band that can lift. So basically the motion, it looks like this. That's it. Here we go. So now if you have to animate a Z translate and Y translate, that's a lot more work. And plus you have to make sure that the joint doesn't penetrate it. And so the best way to do is we use another thing to control it. We want to change the pivot point to here and do rotation instead. However, we cannot change, we can't change the pivot point of the IK handle, but in this case it will not work. So we're going to use a group node on top of this and change the pivot point of the group node right on that ball joint. You can also use a curve instead of a group node also. Some people might prefer to have an actual control to manually control it instead of what you saw at the beginning when I show you the final production of our rig would be we use set different key. So those will be in the future. You can modify, make it suit to what you need. So for now we're gonna group it to itself, edit, group the angle IK to itself. So we're gonna call these a little more appropriate. So I'm gonna create that group in IKGP. I'm gonna call IKGP. Now you need to change the pivot point. Press D, and I'm gonna snap to this joint, the pivot point. So I'm gonna hold V key, and I'm gonna use middle mouse to grab the center. Oh, here we go. And can you see it's now snap? And be careful, V key also snap to vertex. So you might have to really zoom in so that you can move the mouse into the right position. So now when you're done, you press D back to finish. So this is what you're gonna animate it. This is it. Rotate like this. Can you see? Here we go. And we are not going to rotate directly on the group node neither. We're gonna set the different key instead. Now what about the toe bend though? The actual motion is like this. Is moving the IK handle of the toe. Here we go. So now we're gonna do the same thing as the angle group. So we're gonna group the toe IK to itself, edit, group, change the pivot point again, press D. Now the pivot point will be at the ball joint again. So snap. Now I'm gonna have to zoom in really close. V key, middle mouse, drag. I use middle mouse drag. Here we go. Press D to finish. Test rotation and look like this. Now you might notice that the rotation are not rotated right perpendicular to here. Is okay. We can actually make it perpendicular, but it requires a little more work. So in this semester we're gonna go with the basic. So now I'm gonna rename it again. I'm gonna just copy that name and leave the word GP. There we go. Oop. Now we are ready to set a foot control. Okay, so okay, now before we move on, let's test a pull vector and twist. So now if I go, let's go to the side view quick. When you move your IK up, and don't worry, it will look like that. Can you see? Because when you animate it, you have to move all three of them. So now I cannot select just only the IK. On the angle is IK, right? But on the sorry, not just only the angle. On the angle is a group node, so you have to select those group node plus the ball IK, and this is how you animate movement. Here we go. And let's take a look at this a little bit. When I move this up until, can you see? The leg started to twist down. The knees twist down. And that because of this, let me go back to a font view quick. Let me select only that. Right here, pull vector. Can you see right there? When this line hit to or overlap to the pull vector, it will twist the knee down. So now we can prevent this. No, we can't really prevent it, but we can minimize it. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna undo everything back. Okay. So, and before we do anything else, let's put the foot control first because it will be easier. I'm gonna use a box control here, and I'm gonna scale it, and I'm gonna try to sculpt this so that it looks a little like a foot. So I'm gonna move it there, and let's make it bigger. Here we go. Okay. And let's see on the side view. Now I want that to be right here, so that will be my reference to the ground plane. And let's just use control vertex, grab this and move it up. There we go. Actually, this can be down right there. So I think these should be easy to select, and you don't have to rotate them, like change the orientation. Oh, let me go to object mode right there, like this. Doesn't have to. It's okay to be. If you want to, you can. I'm gonna just let it go like that. Actually, it looks really boxy, but let me narrow the tip down a little bit. Here we go. Oh. Oh, I have the symmetrical on. Hold on, let me turn off. Here we go. By accident. No wonder why. Here we go. Okay. I don't like it. That's okay. Okay. So now this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna name this and freeze transform, modify, not reset, undo, modify freeze, and then rename is gonna be a LSK foot CTL. Okay, foot control. I'm gonna save. I forgot to save as. Hey guys, save often. I totally forgot. Ranking M. I totally forgot. 20. 01. Here we go. Okay. Luckily, my system is not crashing. So, okay. So now how to parent this. So I'm gonna go to show object and NURBS object because I want to see this. Oh, I have S curve. Let me kill that. Okay, the S curve is from previous rigging. So SK foot control. So basically, let's expand the. Oh no, right here. Sorry, I didn't see it. GP. So these you will use a outliner to select it. Let me expand this. As you see, can you see I did not select the IK handle on the toe and angle. I do select only IK group. Now the ball IK will just use as a pin station, that's all. Doesn't really do anything else much. Now we have to put these three hierarchy into the foot control. So I can middle mouse drag and drop to the LSK foot control. So now if I expand it, it will look like this. So when I select, I move everything together. So now once again, let's take a look at our pole vector one more time. When we select the angle IK, you'll be able to see the pole vector. So now can you turn on manipulator? Can you press T? T is manipulator, T on your keyboard. So now this is pole vector. So what we can do is we can hide this to the area that kind of minimize the overlap of the IK chains right there, the line, this line, IK lines, IK chains. So what we can do is we can hide this on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to use a top view to look at it. So I want this to be a little like a straight. Here we go. So I move the pole vector. I just look at on the line. If you can hide this, hide the layer mask, you might see it. See that line? I want it to be straight line. Now look at on a front view. Now, if the line straight like this, when we rotate the leg this way up in that direction, will pass to that line also, because it's trajectory. If I push one, see that's trajectory to this area. So it means this line cannot pass that. But if I turn on manipulator again, press T, if I move this down like this angle, so it means I give a little more expand on this line. So if I grab the, let me grab the foot control and I move it right here. See, I can go a little higher until hit to there. Now what about the inside? Until it hit to that line. Here we go. And once again, just in case you might get confused, let me do something quick. Let me draw this to show it to you. Okay. So right now we changed the angle of the pole vector like this. So it means the plane will go in this direction also, right? So now when I move the leg, I can go up until it's past that trajectory. It will start it to twist again. Same here on this direction, twist again. So that's why I don't think we need to move the leg motion more than this angle at all. Maybe if it does, just move it a little more and sacrifice this area. So now we still can animate the twist. Okay, so we will work on that later. So I'm gonna go back to here. So let's put it back to 0. Okay, so that's kind of a minimize it. Now what about this? the joint twist. Well, if you select on the angle IK itself, you have twist node. So I'm gonna use this as a reference. Middle mouse drag, and let's see, I think is -90. Here we go. That's about right, because what we try to do, we try to make them straight line like that. That should be is about 90. So you're gonna have to do exactly same thing on the right side on your own. Oh, -90. The other side probably gonna be +90. Come on, -90. Here we go. Click. Okay. So now it's rotated back. Is it check? Turn that on. See if it's still in the right spot. So let me remove the pen. Here we go. Okay. So now we're getting somewhere there. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a toe bend and heel control. So right now, if I move this, I have to change the pivot point. We forgot to change. So the rotation on the foot itself, it should be at the angle joint. So D key, and we're gonna snap the pivot point of the foot control to the angle joint. So I'm gonna hold V key and snap to press D, and that's it. So now it will look like this, and I can do like that. Here we go. Okay. So, and next thing, I'm gonna use a circle here. Gonna rotate 90 degree on Z, and X will be 180. Here we go. So this controller, the pivot point should be right on the heel. So actually I should snap to right there. V key. Here we go. Snap to vertex. If it doesn't snap, you might need to turn on a reference. Here we go. So snap and switch back to template. Sorry. Oops, it's the wrong side. Okay, move it there. Okay. So this is gonna be a heel control. Heel CTL. CTL. Here we go. And I'm gonna freeze transformation. Here we go. Scale it a little. Oh, I should have scaled it first. Here we go. And then freeze it. Okay. And basically, this will control the foot to rotate at that pivot point. Now, what we're gonna do is we have to make these to follow that, right? Okay. So we don't want this to be a shadow of that, because this is the main control. We want to be able to rotate and move forward, up and down. This one we just want to rotate only X direction. Let me freeze transform again, I forgot. Make sure you freeze transform. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna reorganize it. You can actually middle mouse put the LSK heel control under foot control. Here we go. So now it's a child of foot control. So let's go with it. But we want to reorganize this. So select control click, select only the highest hierarchy. You don't want to select the low hierarchy, just only the top one. And middle mouse drag and put on top of the LSK heel control. So now the hierarchy will look like this. Can you see? So it's mean I can rotate this like that. So now we don't want to rotate like this. Well, maybe. So let's keep it all rotation but not translate. So let's lock and hide all of this. Lock and hide selected, make it clean, so just only these two motion that you can use. Here we go. And this one control everything. Okay. And all right, so now let's put the geometry to the section. So I'm gonna untemplate it, so switch the mesh layer to regular layer. Now under X-lay join, turn it on. It's actually is under view, shading menu of your viewport and X-lay join, so that we can see. So this is what you're gonna do. Oh, here we go. Select this set of the mesh and parent it to the ball joint, not the toe, because we want the rotation to be at that point. So the ball joint is press P. Now this set, here we go, foot L. I need to delete history. Here we go. Okay. And then we're gonna parent it to the angle joint. So parent it, test. If I grab the heel control, when I rotate it should go with it. And if I grab the angle, actually guys, I forgot, this is not called angle, this is how to call a ball. We can call ball joint, a rotate group. I think that's make more sense. To IK, angle IK. Sorry guys, just leave that angle IK, that's fine. Okay, so the angle IK will rotate. Can you see? Here we go. Make sure you undo, and the toe do like that. Here we go. Undo. It's not perfect, but just for now. Okay. And all right. So now right here we're gonna create a new. We are not going to animate a scaling. So let's lock and hide. Hey guys, let's just only hide, not lock. There's a reason. Because we're gonna have to have a globe node that can scale everything down or up later, so we can't lock them. Okay, so it will look like that. So now let's create a under modify, add to build. We're gonna call a ball bend, and I just add the capital, and Maya will separate it for us. Now we're gonna choose a float as a data type, scalable, and we're gonna create a minimum volumes is only. How about oh, the bend will be just only bend upward, not downward. So minimum will be 0. Maximum though, I'm gonna use a 10. Let's keep it 10, and click add. The next one will be a toe bend. Now we can do a minimum minus 10, maximum 10, default 0, add. And then later on we're gonna have twist. Now for the twist though, we call knee twist. Knee twist. And knee twist, we're going to use floating, and we are not going to limit at all. So you know what, let's do limit. How about minus 10 and 10? Here we go. So close. Now we're going to prepare. Okay, so we're going to open up a set div key under animation, key, set div key, and set. Okay, we're gonna load this controller to the driver, not driven. Now on the driven though, first angle, load to driven. Here we go. And we're gonna do little by little. So ball bend will control the angle IK group. So I highlight ball bend, and the IK angle IK group will rotate only the X direction. So I'm gonna highlight X, set the first key, and then I'm gonna use the outliner of set div key to select the object. So select the control, foot control. This way will force us to select the correct object. Now ball bend, we already know that we can go up to 10, so we're gonna press 10, type it 10, and then activate the angle IK group. So by using a outliner of set div key. Now the rotation, so I'm gonna highlight rotate X, middle mouse and drag up. Here we go, this way. So as far as you want. So I'm gonna just do, how about right there? You don't have to be exact, precise, like a number. I mean the number. You can do any number you like. I'm gonna do 60. That's all. And I'm gonna set the key, and pretty much it on the ball joint, on the ball bend, because the ball bend will just do like this. That's all it does. So I'm gonna put it back to 0. Now we're gonna move on to the toe bend. So select toe IK group, load to driven. Now chains, make sure on the foot control you select toe bend now. And then on the toe IK group, you select rotate X. Set the first key. Here we go. And then I'm gonna go to the foot control. Toe bend, we already know a minus 10 and positive 10. So I'm gonna start it with minus 10. And with minus 10 on the toe bend, I'm gonna click on the toe IK group, no, on the div key section. I'm gonna move it down. So actually I'm gonna just do, we can't do that much, so maybe just, how about 60? Just keep it simple. 60. Set second key, and now I'm gonna go back to the foot control, toe bend, right there, toe bend, make sure toe bend. Now 10, positive 10. Select the toe IK group again, use outliner of set div key. And last time we did a let's see what it is, in positive rotation 60, right? So now when I try to bend my own toe, I can't move more than 45. So I'm probably gonna use 45 minus 45 and set key. Here we go. And the last thing we're gonna do a knee twist, but let's test this quick. So I'm gonna go back, select there, and test, see if it works, and it does. Here we go. Put it back to 0. Okay, so now next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a twist. So now twist the knee. So let's just take a look at it one more time about the twisting. So right now it's at -90, right? So we want it to be able to rotate like this, twist it inward, and normally we don't really go like that, probably just only that way. So this one will be 90, like 0, I think, twist. So 0 that way. And how about the other side? That probably 128. 180, sorry, -180. Here we go. So I think that's what we need. However, if you want it to be safe, you could twist all the way. So 120, how about mid there? 260. Let's see if I correct. Minus 260. So minus 260, and if I do minus 260, let me see. Let me think quick. We have only 10 left because only 100 left because in total has to be a 160 degree, right? So let me try 10, 100 twist. That's correct. It's mid right there again. So okay, so let's start at -90. Okay, so now this is what you need to do. Foot control as a driver will be knee twist, but will control the IK twist. So we have to select the IK handle, angle IK. So select angle IK, not the group node, because we need a parameter, twist parameter from the IK handle. So select the angle IK, load to driven, and on the foot control you highlight knee twist. Then go down to twist node, no, twist attribute. Initial key, set the first key to initial it. So it means foot control knee twist attribute 0, the ankle IK twist set at -90. Alright, so now I'm gonna go back to the foot control again, knee twist, let's do -10 because that's what we create. We create -10 for minimum and maximum is 10. So now we are telling Maya what to do next. So you already know that we test the twist will be a 100. So if you twist this way, can you see? I'm gonna just keep going until hit it to 100. Type 100. Oops. Is normally it will not happen. Just in case, we can do that. 10 to 100. And set second key. Now when I go to twist node, oh no, knee twist attribute, I reduce it. See, from 0 to -10 it go that direction. Here we go. So now I'm gonna bring the knee twist to 10, the maximum. So go to the knee angle. We already know that we do a positive 100, so we have to do negative 260. I mean, you can test it by moving. This is about the same when it stops. So right there, it's like the whole loop, whole 360 degree. So this minus 260. Here we go. Up. Minus 260. Here we go. And set third key. That's the last keyframe. And then I can go to twist node, and this is what I can do. Here we go. Now when do we need that though? When it's this. Now we're done with that. So I'm gonna grab that, and I can do this motion, rotate it, right? So what if I can do like this? There we go. And if I move it that way, let me increase it right here, move it higher. Oh, right there. Here we go. Sorry. So now when we see, so if we do like this, let me rotate that. Here we go. Still work, but we can control the knee twist little. So if we need to, oh, let's mimic. Here we go. Knee twist to 0. So we can animate. I think it got to be right there. Here we go. And twist that angle. I mean, you can't really bend that much, but I just want to exaggerate it. So we had a little more option to control the knee. There we go. So, and that's it for the knee raking. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Here we go. We need to put these two objects on the bone. Here we go. And oh, I forgot to separate them. Hey guys, so let's separate this quick. Shift up, oops, sorry. Shift right mouse click and separate the mesh. Separate it. So, and let's see. Here we go. Okay. So this kneecap, you can parent it. You can make it a child of the first knee joint, and these two will be a child of the second knee joint. So now when I move this, here we go, and then that one, this bone will be a child, the female be a child of the hip. Here we go, and we done. So you're gonna do it by yourself with this side, okay? And all right, that's it for today.